In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is my husband Joe. And
Hello.
This episode is very slightly different because we are videoing it as well. And we have a reason for videoing it, and I'm just trying to arrange all of the all of the windows on my screen. And should probably have done this before we started recording. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. But
Should we start again? Just go, hello.
hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is my husband Joe.
Hello.
Hi. And Joe, your face is looking very nice and shiny.
Thank you. As soon as you turned the camera on, I realised my face was very shiny.
It was quite shiny.
And I needed to do something about that.
So we've put some makeup on him. Doesn't he look pretty? We have not put makeup on him, but you did wash your face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I do look pretty.
And you do look pretty. And I am wearing makeup.
Which is a thing.
Which is a thing, and we'll come to that shortly. But just before we do that, I just wanted to say that this is what we're drinking tonight. And it's bloody delicious. It's Aberfoyle's small batch Welsh gin with orange marmalade. Or orange marmalade flavoured.
It is really nice.
It's delicious, isn't it?
Very good.
Yeah, and that's in honour of our holiday because we didn't have gin and tonic last week because I was ill. I'm actually still ill, but I just thought, stuff it, I'm fed up of being ill.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had a kidney infection, which is now mostly gone, and if you can't hear from my voice, I now have a really bad throat. So that's what we are doing at the moment, drinking gin and being ill.
Cheers.
Maybe.
Well,
Cheers.
you're being ill.
I'm being ill, yeah.
I'm not engaging with it.
Cheers, dear listener. So, okay, we're talking about a few things this week. Let's do the makeup thing first because
Because of your face.
Because of my face, yeah. And I'm 40 next year. And until this very day, I have never learned how to do my own makeup.
That's ridiculous.
Well, no, but unlike today's teenagers and young people, I didn't have YouTube tutorials at my disposal. YouTube tutorials, by the way, are a fucking revelation. But I also want to say a massive thank you to Kenda. Hi Kenda. And say thank you for putting together a tutorial for me because my face is courtesy of a combination of Kenda and 2 YouTube tutorials. One of which because I was trying to follow Kenda's instructions and then was like, I've got entirely different colour makeup palettes from her, and so I found one that was specific to the Urban Decay makeup that I have. And so that is how I am. I'm actually quite pleased with my face right now, which is a big deal because I do not like my face. I'm putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm alone.
The Vicky insecurity.
Yeah. As in, when I say I don't think I'm alone, I don't mean that like there's loads of other people out there who hate my face as well.
Loads of people don't like your face.
But I mean, I think actually quite a lot of people, there's stuff they don't like about themselves.
Sure.
But I think I'm like a classic great arse shame about the face. And I've always thought that. And which is, on one level I know is ridiculous. But on another level, it's a thing that you internalise. So anyway, this podcast is kind of about confidence and stuff. Because I was in a pole competition. Wasn't I?
You were.
I did not win. Do you know why I didn't win? I didn't win
Because you weren't.
because I was not good enough.
You were not the best person there.
I was not the best person there. And I am, and that's just like, I don't know, I was good, wasn't I? I mean,
Yes.
you were there.
Yes, I was there.
What did you think?
You were very good.
And I had a whale of a time.
Yes.
And I was really proud of my performance. And I literally just got the feedback, actually, this afternoon from the judges. And the feedback was awesome, wasn't it?
It was really positive.
It was, their score on 5 criteria out of 10. And I think for all of them, I got like 39 or 40 and above.
Mm-hmm.
So, out of 50 each judge. And, I was all like 7s, 8s, 9s, 9.5s. And so I must have missed out on a place by, very little.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really, really pleased with that. But when it comes down to it, I didn't win and I didn't get a medal because I wasn't good enough.
Sure.
And I think that's really important to know because you can you can be really proud of your performance and still recognise that actually you weren't good enough.
Yes.
And I'm talking about this because a few people have said to me, and they, they've said it with all kindness and, with the, the best possible intentions, but a few people have said to me, online and off, oh, it's not the winning, it's the taking part that counts. And that's lovely.
Taking part's nice.
Taking part is nice, but actually, no, it's the winning. And it is. And actually, my friend Yinka wrote an email about this the other day about her boys' school sports day. And how, she's like, I've got issues. I'm really competitive mom.
Hi, Yinka.
Hi, Yinka. Love you, Yinka. Love you. And I also have issues. I'm super competitive as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think in an unhealthy way. It's not like I don't sulk if I lose unless it's at backgammon to you.
That's because you're terrible at backgammon.
You cheat at backgammon. But I am super competitive. And I think, if you're going to enter a competition... then, or if I'm going to enter a competition, I want to win. I damn well want to win.
Your intention is to win.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't have fun, then that's pointless.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be both. But it's not the taking part that counts, it's the winning that counts. And I think this is really, really important in business, at school, in life.
Mm-hmm.
And and the reason I think it's really important is because, where's the improvement going to come from? If you don't win and then you're like, oh, it's just a taking part that counts.
I'm just
That's
making
all
up
that
the
matters.
numbers.
How are you ever going to improve? Because for me, I'm like, right, I want to see the video. I want all the feedback from the judges. I want to know exactly what I can do to improve next time. Because when I go back, I'm damn well going to win something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's kind of important, isn't it?
I think it's a mindset. I think for some people, they might think it's brilliant to take part.
Yeah.
And it is. It's brilliant to take part. But I think there are other people, yourself included, who go there to win.
But I think, and this is probably going to get me some hate mail. I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this podcast because there's some other stuff coming up in a bit. But I think that's the difference between people who are going to be super successful and people who aren't. And there's nothing wrong with not being super successful. But if you want to be super successful, I think there has to be that kind of, maybe I will never be super successful, but the point is I want to be, and so that's always going to be the driving force behind what I do. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong. I'm not saying that everybody should be like that, because the world would stop turning if everybody was that driven.
Yes.
But ultimately, the world would also stop turning if some people weren't that driven, because nothing would ever get done.
I think there's also, there's normal caveats with moralities and actually being a decent human being whilst you're trying to win and all that kind of stuff.
God, yeah.
You're not just gouging people's eyes out so that you can win.
Exactly, and that's a really good point that I was going to bring up. I forgot to write down in the notes. But at the competition,
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, it is. At the competition, and this was the authentic pole dancing, so this is like stripper style, and it was like way out of my comfort zone.
I kind of went boob blind by the end of the day. It was like,
but I mean, all of the performances that night were amazing, weren't they? They were a much higher standard than at the qualifying heats.
Yes.
Just like consistently. But one thing that really struck me was that everybody there, as far as I could tell, wanted to win, but not at the expense of somebody else.
It did feel all quite warm and cuddly there, didn't it?
Yeah, and
people were nice to each other.
I don't mean that in that everybody's a winner. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that nobody was hoping for anybody to fall off the stage or fall on their face or hurt themselves or anything like that. It was like, I want to win, but I want everybody else to do really well as well. Because otherwise, how do you know you're the best? If everybody else isn't bringing their A game, how do you know you're the best?
Sure.
Is one reason for it. And another reason is because just most people, I think most of the time, want to see you do well.
Yeah.
Because it's nice.
Yeah.
To see people do well. Anyway, that was a big ramble about that kind of thing. Oh, and another thing as well, a lot of people don't watch themselves on video or listen back to themselves on recordings, and I think that's a big mistake if you want to improve.
Yeah, feedback.
Yeah,
feedback
because
is great.
You are going to be, and if you do it with the, keeping in mind the fact that you are always going to be your own biggest critic. So I'm going to watch back my video and I'm going to see all sorts of stuff that nobody else would notice. I'll be like, my toe wasn't pointed there, and my face, what was my face doing there, and blah, blah, blah. But the point is I can notice that stuff and then improve on it next time. Mm-hmm. And I always listen back to...
Not necessarily a comfortable experience, though, watching yourself do that sort of
it's
stuff.
It's horrible. No, it's horrible. But that's what I'm saying. There's like... Not watching yourself if you didn't win, or not watching yourself if you didn't feel that you did very well in whatever, whether it's a presentation or a training course or whatever, is just foolish vanity, because you need to feel that discomfort and be like, right, I'm going to watch this dispassion. I might watch it the first time and be like, oh, that's awful and it's making me feel like crap. And then the second time you watch it with a critical eye, and it's like, how can I improve? How can I be better next time? This is particularly important for people who find speaking very difficult. So I have a load of filler words. I say and less than I used to now because I listen to myself. But I also know that I have a bunch of stuff like, I say a lot, and it drives me nuts. And like I listen to other people's little, I don't know, verbal tics, I guess.
Yeah.
Like comfort words. And my biggest piece of advice for that, by the way, is just pause for an uncomfortably long time.
Okay.
So yeah, that was yeah. How can you improve if you don't know where your weaknesses are? And you need to watch and listen. So it's not the taking part that counts, it's the winning, I think. Sermon ends.
Okay.
What else are we going to talk about?
I have no idea. I just sat down with a gin.
Okay, so I can go back to Yinka's email about her kids, and she was saying that there's a difference between kind of, being the parent that's like, you lost that race, so get down and give me 20, and being like, oh, you didn't win that time, next time you're going to win, and this is how. There's a difference between those two.
Put some time into some training.
Exactly. I think it's that dissatisfaction. I think that, and is it a myth that schools did this thing where everybody got a prize for showing up? Is that like an internet myth?
I don't know. It does sound like one of those things that the Daily Mail would say in order to enrage people.
Yeah, like the health and safety thing.
Yeah, it's just it sounds a bit obvious to be enraging. Because it's ridiculous.
Well, it is ridiculous, but I remember hearing stories about schools that were doing musical chairs, but there were enough chairs for everybody, and it's like, well, how is that fun if everybody gets to? Because you know how musical chairs works, right?
I am familiar with the concept of musical chairs.
I'm only asking,
it's been a while. I've got to admit, it's been a while.
I'm only asking because we went on a holiday recently, and I found out Joe had never played hopscotch, so I taught him how to play hopscotch on the beach. So I had to check. But yeah,
I won, didn't I?
No, you did not. You lost.
And then we played Nine Man's Morris.
And I lost that.
Vicky lost that real hard.
Yeah. So yeah, kids need to win and lose, and they need to know that losing is not a failure. And you listeners need to know that it's okay to lose, because losing and failing is a learning experience. In the Western world, I think we've talked about this before, we really struggle with this concept. If you go to Japan, kids are very happy to get up and be wrong in front of the entire class because nobody mocks them. It's not a bad thing. It's a learning experience. It's like, why did I get this wrong? How can I get it right? In the Western world, certainly my experience of school and from what I've seen, it seems to be unacceptable for people to get answers wrong. It's like, you don't put your hand up if you're not sure. It's like, put your hand up and answer that question. If you're not sure, if you get it wrong, it's gonna you're the one who's more likely to succeed.
It's almost the same thing as going for no, isn't it?
Yes, Go for No. Go for No is a perfect example. Great little book. Read Go for No. My superheroes just fell over themselves to praise it. It was amazing. Yeah, because it just changed the way they did things. Because rather than panicking about who's gonna buy stuff from them and who isn't, it's like, I'm gonna try and get 40 people to say no to me this week. Because in amongst all those people who say no, there's probably going to be a few who say yes.
Who say yes.
Yeah, and it just changes. It changes things from being worried about failing to
acknowledging it's going to happen.
Yeah, and being okay with it.
Go and get it. Go and get those failures.
Yeah, because 100% of the people are never going to buy from you ever, ever. So yeah, that was a slight ramble as well. But I am genuinely not very well, so I apologise for the slight rambliness of this podcast. I know I don't look ill, but that's because of the magic powers of makeup.
You have been a bit poorly, haven't you?
I've not been very well at all. So yeah, and that kind of got me thinking, this whole losing thing got me thinking a little bit about dissatisfaction and restlessness and the happiness fallacy. And how I think the media and fiction and films and stuff sell us this idea that one day when we have achieved this and we have done that and we have got this, we're going to be happy.
We shall live happily ever after.
Yeah, and life does not work like that.
No.
It doesn't. Relationships don't work like that. And if life did work like that, we would all still be in caves hitting each other over the head with rocks.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's that dissatisfaction. And when I say dissatisfaction, I don't mean misery and kind of selfish dissatisfaction, as in, like, you know, I've got everything I need and I'm still not fucking happy kind of thing. I mean that dissatisfaction with the status quo and that yearning for something else. You know, I've achieved this thing, now what's next? That dissatisfaction is what drives progress and discovery and innovation.
Okay.
And so I don't ever kind of, because you say to me sometimes, don't you, oh, when, you know, when we finish the dingle, we're gonna sit down and chill out. And I know you would love to do that, and I know that I will not be able to do that.
You're gonna need to do that for a while.
And
I'm sorry.
I will really try, but I'm probably gonna like build a hobbit house or something.
You can do that. You can crack into something else.
Yeah.
But we can't just move out and buy another rack of
Oh
a
no,
cottage.
no. I wasn't suggesting. I honestly wasn't suggesting doing that. But you kind of say to me quite often, can you not just chill out? And the answer to that is no.
The answer is no. I know.
I can't. I try really hard, and I do sit and read sometimes. I mean, I read a lot. I sit and I chill out, but I just find it hard to. I don't know. I like doing things, and you know, I think sometimes my body, as in the last week with like a kidney infection and now a throat, is like, no, you're done. You need to stop for a bit.
Sit down. Shut up.
And that's, you know,
read a book.
Yeah, and I have actually done very little this weekend, apart from rehearsals and gardening.
Rehearsals and gardening.
Which is not very much for me. Anyway, I unfriended someone on Facebook today.
You unfriended somebody on Facebook?
I hardly ever do that.
Yes.
Do you know why?
No, we had a brief conversation about this. Go on, tell me.
So I unfriended somebody on Facebook the other day because I saw he had a rant about people protesting Trump or whatever. And then the rant disintegrated in his comments section. I mean, the initial rant was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But then in his comments section, the rant disintegrated into comments about Muslims and immigrants. And I was very surprised actually to see him agreeing with these rather objectionable opinions. And I didn't object. I feel like I should preface this with, I don't object to people having reasoned opinions backed up by, I mean, I'm probably not going to be friends with racist people because I just don't think there's any justification for that. But if somebody presents to me an opinion that I disagree with and they've thought about it and they've got, you know, they've put some judgment behind it, I can respect that opinion. What I can't respect is people going, okay, so this was the thing that really wound me up. It's like, oh, can you imagine if we went to like Dubai and wanted to build a pub and a Christian church, and you know, you'd be basically set on fire and told to leave the country, but in Britain they could come over here and build their mosques and do this, that and the other. And I'm like, that's why our country is so awesome. Because it is open to everybody and anybody who wants to work hard, and we take the best from the cultures that come here and we integrate people, and you know, we do stuff. And so just that, you know what I mean? I've lost all my words now because I just get so frustrated by it, because it comes right down to the whole, you know, coming over here and taking our jobs, right? It's like Schrodinger's immigrant. They are simultaneously both lazy and taking our jobs,
right,
which makes me laugh. But the thing that gets me is, if you're working hard on your stuff and doing well, it shouldn't matter who's coming in. If somebody can come in from a country with perhaps, you know, not as good an education system, who doesn't speak the language, who doesn't know the culture, and they can steal your job from you, I think perhaps you're not doing a very good job of doing your job.
Yes.
And
you need to sort your shit out.
Yeah, and competition is good, and I want the best people for every job doing the best job that they can, you know? And so, you know, without wanting to, this isn't a political thing, it's more of a, you know, use your fucking noggin kind of thing. Anyway, that was kind of one of the things that just made me a little bit ragey, and I was like, if you focus on what you're doing and work hard on what you're doing, and, you know, go for your goals and try and be a good person and do the best for your customers and your clients and all the rest of it, it doesn't matter what other people are doing around you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't make any difference. If you do business the Vicky Fraser way, the superheroes way, the way that I have learned from my mentors and the way that I teach my clients and customers, it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy, it doesn't matter what's going on in politics. You know, sometimes things might be a little bit more difficult because of business rates and whatnot, but it's never insurmountable. The people who can't surmount that are the ones who are being a victim. They're the ones who are letting it all wash over them and saying, you know what, this is all somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
All somebody else's fault. It's like
giving the power away.
Yeah, and that baffles me. It's like, and that for me is the crux of this attitude towards immigrants. It's like, why would you give away all of your power to this group of people who you obviously don't like? It's like, if you really don't like them, ignore them. I mean, you're missing out on a whole rich, swathe of life and possible amazing friends, but, whatever, that's up to you. But don't blame exterior circumstances for your lack of success.
And I think there's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of dissatisfaction. I think a lot of people are a little bit dissatisfied with where they've got to in life for a whole bunch of reasons, education and social standing and all kinds, lack of drive and all sorts of social and interesting reasons why they haven't quite achieved what they think they should have achieved. And then it's very easy to just point at someone and blame them.
Yeah.
And you just go, well, it's his fault. It's his fault. He's stolen my job, or it's their fault because their tax scheme is unfair, or it's
the council's fault because
they want
parking taxes up and
whatever it is. They people find something to point at and blame.
Yeah,
I think that's fairly natural. It is.
It is natural, and I don't have a problem with that because this is one of the things. It's like thinking is. It's really, really important. I know that sounds like a really obvious thing to say. But, we're all massively biased. We all succumb to this kind of thing. It's really easy to have a knee-jerk reaction and be like, why didn't I win my pole competition, actually? I think I was better than her. Maybe that the judge liked, is her best mate or something. That was bullshit. It's like, no, you're allowed to have that feeling for a moment and then look at it, examine it, take it out and say, is this reasonable?
Yeah.
It's like, actually, no, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to win on the day. And, if your marketing campaign fails or the business down the road is doing better than you, have 5 minutes of being pissy about it because that's allowed, because it's natural.
And then sort it out and move on.
Sort it out, move on, figure out how you're going to get over it. Take that responsibility and, by the way, the power that comes with it back and say, right, this shit has happened to me. It's not very pleasant. It's making things difficult. How am I going to fix it? How am I going to get around it? How am I going to make my life better? And you will be amazed at how much better you feel.
Yeah.
Once you do that, honestly. And I should also, by the way, shout out in this podcast a big thank you to Annie Norris, who is fucking awesome.
Hi, Annie.
Hi, Annie. She is my pole teacher. Not just for helping me choreograph an amazing routine, but also for planting the seed of the idea for this podcast, because I'm not going to say what she wants to talk about in a couple of her blog posts, but she will know from me saying thank you, because it just sparked that. But it's a personal responsibility thing. But she's going to write a really awesome blog post that I'm going to share when she's written it.
Cool.
And this is her public nudge to do so. But yeah, she's completely awesome, and I love her very, very dearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically business. If you look for reasons to distrust people, if you look for people to blame, if you look for reasons that you are, that it wasn't your fault that you're screwed, then you're going to find them, and you are going to get nowhere.
It's his fault. It's their fault. It's somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Not my fault. Nothing I can do about it. It was just circumstance that got me.
Yeah. And if that's the attitude that sticks with you, then that is the way your life is going to be. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be full of people throwing obstacles at you maliciously.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be full of people deliberately getting in your way and deliberately helping to make your life difficult. And life isn't like that, actually. People are doing their own thing, and shit happens, and you can't control a lot of it. But what you can control, always what you can control, is your reaction to it and what you do next. So if you take nothing else away from any of my podcasts or any of the things that I ever talk about, take that, because my life transformed when I kind of understood that truth. It's very empowering. I hate the word empowering because it's been a bit overused and it's a bit wanky, but it's true. So
It's true.
Yeah, so I've just looked at another paragraph in my notes, which I'm totally not going to read. But it uses the word dick splat, which pleases me because that's something that that's a word that had just popped into my head and that I hadn't thought about or heard since I was about 14. But we're not gonna.
Oh, we're not gonna say that.
No, we're not gonna say that, because I'm not about calling people out by name. That's not fun.
Okay.
It's not cool. That's not cool. So yeah, blame throwers, poverty mindset. You are the sum of the people that you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with people who are chucking blame around all the time and thinking that there's not enough for everybody and that you're hard done by, then that's the way you're going to think, and you're never going to get anywhere. This is why I don't go to most networking meetings. Even the good ones I've found are a little bit full of poverty-minded people. And it just... it makes for a frustrating time. Not all of them by any means. And I'm like, now I'm like picturing Todd grinding his teeth.
Backpedal.
No, I'm not backpedaling at all. But some meetings are better than others, and Todd would say that as well.
Yeah.
Some meetings are better than others. And his meeting is awesome. I've been to it.
Hi, Todd.
It's full of really cool people. Hi, Todd. Hi, Joe. Hi, Bob. Bob the baby.
Bob?
Yeah.
I haven't met Bob.
Oh, she's so cute. I think it's her birthday today. Obviously not the day the podcast goes up. But yeah, if you're going to networking meetings or any kind of business group meetings, just be careful which ones you go to and be careful of the attitudes that you see there, because you will internalize them and life will become difficult. Some of them are great.
Unless they're awesome attitudes, in which case things will go well.
Yeah, find the good ones. You know, find the good meetings, find the good people, find the good groups.
Find Todd's meeting.
Find Todd. Yeah, go to Leamington Spa for a networking meeting, because that really is a genuinely good one. And yeah, join my superheroes, because again, that's, you know, the people in my group, they are doing stuff. And they are doing amazing stuff, and I'm so proud of them. I love them very dearly. Hi everyone. I'm ill and I don't feel very well, and I'm feeling all mushy. So yeah, takeaway for this week.
Focus on yourself and ignore what others are up to. How can you be better? How can you take responsibility for your issues? How can you deal with things? Exactly.
Thanks, Joe. So next week we are going to be talking about, and this kind of follows on very nicely from if you are listening to the podcast and not watching the video, I urge you to watch the video, because Joe's doing his eyebrow dance.
I can't help it. I can see myself on the screen. I've got to wiggle my eyebrows. I'm sorry.
You've inherited those eyebrows from your dad. Your dad has the magnificent eyebrows of an eyebrow man, and you have the same. You've now got like several. Oh, how many chins have you got?
Oh, loads.
Okay. That was amazing. I've never seen that many chins in my life.
It's a talent.
It is. Right, anyway, next week, following on from actually quite well from this week, we're going to be talking about getting out of your own way and busting self-limiting beliefs.
Okay.
Which is really important. What else have I got anything to tell? Superheroes. Go to... Oh, you know what? None of my links work at the moment. Just email me and
email Vicky. She'll sort it out.
I'll send you the link. If you're on my daily email list, if you're not on my daily email list, just go to vickyfraser.com and get on my daily email list, because pretty much I will put a link to my superheroes in all of my daily emails. Join my book club, vickyfraser.com/book club. It's free at the moment. I think I might start charging for it, because honestly, the calls are incredibly valuable, and you don't get access to the recordings unless you're one of my superheroes, or possibly a future paying member of Bookaholics Anonymous. I know, right? I've got many plans. If you know somebody who will enjoy this nonsense, send them to vickyfraser.com/podcast. If you enjoy our podcast, please go to iTunes and leave us a review. Pretty please, because I quite often get people emailing me and saying, "Oh, I love your podcast." That's great. I love it. Please keep emailing me. But also, when you do that, take a couple of seconds and go to iTunes and review us on there as well.
Stick it in iTunes.
Yeah, because Joe gets really happy when that happens.
I do.
I know that everybody just loves Joe, really. So, on that note, on the everybody just loves Joe, really, when I was looking through my poll competition feedback, 2 of them were like, brilliant finish. The finish... I'm really pissed off about this. The finish is like, 4 minutes of me doing frankly amazing stuff on a pole and like 8-inch heels. And then right at the end, Joe smacks me on the arse and slings me over his shoulder and walks off, and he gets all the credit. What the fuck?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Unsung hero, Annie Norris, thank you so much for such an amazing routine and for, building my confidence the way you have. And
she's a good one.
She is. As is everybody at Pure Studios. I love them all. Ed2, Eddington Bear. Anyway, right. We'll be back same time next week. Bye.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.